Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club. This week, we play through Blendo Games' 30 Flights of Loving. We talk about many things, including non-alcoholic alcohol, and what you're actually supposed to do with your orange peels when you're done with them.
And you walk up to Anita, and she's got a box of oranges, and she's just throwing orange peels on the ground like she was raised in a barn. And
you can't do that?
I mean,
they're biodegradable.
You don't do that in my house. Let me tell you, Jake. You come over and you throw orange peels on the ground, I'm going to tell you to leave.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCourt, and today I have 3 friends. How did I get 3? I thought I only had 2 friends. Either way, my first friend is Michael Ruffolo.
I'm excited to talk about good games.
And my second friend is Murtadi.
Wagwan, how's it going, guys?
Third friend today is Rocco Tenaglia, who's our guest host for the day.
Hello.
Did you just butcher your name?
No, it nailed it.
Oh, okay.
Nailed it.
5 stars.
I am a professional. On the first try, I always get it.
Oh,
Don't you ever doubt me again.
don't give me those eyes.
What do you say?
I'm sorry, sir.
Do you actually mean it, though?
No, are you kidding?
Today we're going to talk about 30 Flights of Loving. It's an interesting one that I feel like Mike should maybe tell us more about. I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, so 30 Flights of Loving is a game by Brendan Chung of Blendo Games, the developer behind Atom Zombie Smasher and Flotilla, as well as Gravity Bone and some others. It was a game that was developed as part of the Idle Thumbs Kickstarter. So when Idle Thumbs decided to come back as a podcast, one of the rewards for backing it was a copy of 30 Flights of Loving that was partly funded by this Kickstarter. It is a tongue-in-cheek first-person shooter, as described by the creator of the game. And Mo's giving me some eyes because he's
Mo.
like, I did not use a gun in that game.
I understand you're an expert on first-person shooters. Is this a first-person shooter?
No.
Okay.
Actually, wait, there were guns.
There are some guns and bullets.
Positivity. See, we're really starting well.
We're getting closer to what Mo loves.
Yeah.
So
He's transcended.
it's a really interesting game. It's very cinematic, and it has an interesting art style. Very blocky characters, and I think we're going to leave it at that and hop into the discussion.
Absolutely. Before we do that, how did you play the game, Mike, starting with you?
So I played it on my MacBook Air.
Rocco?
Mike's MacBook Air, no mouse.
Great. And Mo?
Surprise, Mike's MacBook.
And I played it on my MacBook Pro with a mouse.
So this
Lucky.
I know.
podcast brought to you in part by Apple.
I mean, they did announce a new iPhone. Did you hear about that? That's a thing.
I did hear a thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an X in it.
Phones.
Phones are a thing.
Yep.
Infinite progress of technology.
Yo, where did the 9 go? That's what I want to know.
Right. They're going to get to, it's like the Xbox. They're going to get to the one that actually is called that.
The Infinite
What do we call it now?
It's like the Mega Man of...
No, they literally...
someone already said that
they
joke.
pulled
I
the
can't say it.
Microsoft. Windows 8 and then Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Bang, bang.
Right.
Wagwan.
So, 30 Flights of Loving. Somebody just start us off. It's like a 30-minute game, right?
Yeah.
No.
Even shorter.
Much shorter, right?
Did anyone time how long it took me to play it?
I didn't time how long it took
I
you.
timed it myself.
It took Rocco and I both 45 minutes to play through it because
No
we
way.
played
With the
through it
caveat.
twice.
With the
Oh.
caveat.
We played once, standard playthrough, and then the second time with developer commentary.
Okay, and I did that too, and it took me 28.
Damn.
I read really fast,
Whoa. You
or
really...
I don't read at all.
It took me, the
And we know
game
Mo's really
proper took me 16 minutes. And then I played a little bit of Gravity Bone, and then I jumped into the commentary thing that took me a little longer that time.
No, I just off a hunch, it seemed like it went by really fast. I feel like 15 minutes.
Yeah, right around there.
It's a very short game.
Definitely.
As we found out in the developer commentary, it was initially a prototype for Gravity Bone, I believe. And it was brought back when the Idle Thumbs guys reached out to Brendan Chung and said, hey, do you want to make a game for this Kickstart, for this podcast? And so they brought this prototype back from the grave, pieced some things together, fixed it up a bit, and went from there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, also fun Idle Thumbs reference, Chris Remo, one of the hosts of the Idle Thumbs, does all the music for the game, which I think was like a real high point. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should talk about music right now.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the music?
I don't remember much of the music. I guess I did play it like maybe 45 minutes ago.
Damn though.
Yeah, and I usually do if it was on my own system, I would be wearing like my headphones and would have no distractions around me. I guess I didn't have distractions and I was wearing my headphones. I don't know. I don't remember the music much, bro.
Yeah, I don't remember the music, but the sound effects. I remember like some of
Yeah.
the sound effects and being very happy when I went into the bar first. I saw the bar and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna drink all this liquor.
I
And
did
I've been-
too. I did too.
Hey, down the bar.
Wait, was there
But
logic?
it was non-alcoholic.
It was all non-alcoholic.
What?
It said Maple Leaf something non-alcoholic.
Yes. There was a thing on the side of the wall that was like a prohibition tag, and then that's why when you we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
When you go into the back room, it's like this is like we're running booze. This is illegal.
Did you guys read the newspaper at the loading menu?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. So the loading menu, when you decide whether you're going to start the game, go into options, or quit, there's a newspaper that surrounds all of that.
Okay.
And all of those options are within essentially an ad panel on the newspaper. And it really sets up a bit of the world. Very David Foster Wallace-esque. Very out there, very weird, and a lot of turns of phrases that you wouldn't expect in normal conversation. So it was very...
Give us an example of some of the...
You know what? I don't have it pulled up, but there were a lot of phrases that were like capitalized, and you could tell like this was meant as a phrase to denote some things. I'm having a hard time.
That was a super ambiguous way of explaining
Yeah, no,
it. You're like,
there were
it had
words.
letters.
I'm drowning here. You put me on the spot, and I need water wings.
Instead, we threw you a brick.
Yeah.
But you were saying the newspaper told you things.
So it helps set up the world.
There you go.
Then you jump into it, and there's a staircase, and you see a bunch of, I guess, newspaper clippings on the side, or newspaper headlines. And you see, I think it's a picture of Tesla, and it's like President Mecha Tesla or something along those lines. And you kind of understand that this is not your like typical world. You turn the corner, you see a note about how this bar has to be kept without alcohol. It was a license to not have alcohol.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
That's
thought
why
that
I
was
drank
kind of
all that
interesting.
alcohol.
You okay?
I'll help you guys out.
Yeah, that non-alcoholic. I had a big chuckle. I think Rocco gave me a look when I turned the corner and I just saw the two men at the bar with the exact same face staring at me with their blockheads.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized they weren't doing anything or saying anything, I jumped the bar and drank all of that non-alcoholic alcohol.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's naturally what you do when you see
Exactly.
blockheads. You're
Yeah.
like, guess what?
Yeah.
I'll drink all your liquor. And
Exactly.
also steal all of your bullets. Because you could do that too.
Exactly, yeah. And like all of the guns. Yeah, so before we get to all of the guns, you end up in this bar looking at a wall full of paintings and portraits.
Mhm.
And for a moment there, you're like, okay, this can't be it. I have to be missing something. And then you realize you can press the action button on one of the paintings and a secret door opens. And you walk through and you see...
Wait, before you walk to this room, did you guys click on the last bar stool?
No, I didn't.
No.
Did it
No
do
one.
something?
The one bar stool that the guy was sitting on, the customer, I guess, when you click it, it moves away into the bar and comes back out. No other functionality. I was hoping I'd get some feedback from you guys, but you guys just all were hammered and walked through a door.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother.
It was very like the bar stool, just the red little seat portion, zipped underneath the bar and came back. I thought maybe that was supposed to do something, or maybe it's just like a functionality that was supposed to do something and they took it out last minute. I don't know. There's nothing in the commentary or anything that mentioned it.
Honestly, I didn't see any of that in the commentary.
I have a theory later that when we get to the commentary, maybe I'll talk about.
Okay,
I
okay.
have a theory about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Could be
So once you open up this secret door, you walk through, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like water falling from
A pipe, right?
pipe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the developer commentary for that was like really cool because Brendan Chung talks about how if you want, it wasn't actually a tall vertical space. They just made the dots shorter and shorter distance, so it perceived as if it was a larger space. And he says like, if you want some cool tips about how to like trick people with perception and stuff, go check out Disneyland and
Or
theme parks and
casinos,
stuff.
he said too, right?
Casinos, yeah. I thought that was very interesting. And I know, obviously, he's got a lot in common with the Idle Thumbs guys because they are obsessed with Disneyland and how it is designed like a real-life video game.
And sorry, who's part of Idle Thumbs again? Who are the three guys?
So right now, the hosts of Idle Thumbs are Chris Remo, Jake Rodkin, and Nate Brecken. But the original 3-ish, from what I remember, are Chris Remo, Jake Rodkin, and Sean Vanneman. Sean Vanneman was just in the news lately because he posted that Campo Santo, the developer of Firewatch, and they're going to be pulling DCMA requests on all PewDiePie's content.
Ooh, poor PewDiePie.
And you've seen the latest on that. There are a bunch of people that are negative review bombing Firewatch on Steam because of it.
What?
It's two sides of the coin, I guess.
Gamers.
With a Z.
Gamers.
4 Zs. So water flowing from the ceiling and geese. There were geese.
Yes.
I love the
Did you
geese
push
sound.
the geese?
So you walk through this weird passage, and then you end up in a room with 2 people.
Mhm.
Jacob, who are the 2?
Maria, Anita, and
Close.
the dude.
William Borges.
Borges.
Like the author, right? Borges.
Borges.
He's like William S. Burroughs?
No, Borges. the magical realism author.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a Colombian author, wrote, I think, The Labyrinth.
Mhm.
He was, hugely influential.
He's the demo man, is he not?
Yes, so William Borges is like the demo man.
Mm-hmm.
And you get these really cool vignettes, and it's the first time you get jump cuts in the game, where you go up to them and you interact with them, and then you get these very quick three vignette stories of what they do and what their roles are.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually 4 or 5. It's
Oh, it
really
might be
rapid
4 or
fire.
5. Yeah, very quick.
Yeah.
But you understand that I think Anita is the demolitions. She's mechanic. Is she the pilot or is William the pilot?
I don't
It almost
remember.
doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter.
Because the whole point is, like, it's such a short time. It's like, all right, these are, like, the cliche things that you do in a heist.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost doesn't matter, like, you notice that you're part of it, but, like, they've already taken up all the jobs. So, like, there's, like, nothing that your character could be doing. Like, are you, like, the brawn or whatever? But it just shows that, like, all these jobs are happening. So, like, it very quickly says, we're criminals. And, like, we're good at it.
Right, yeah. And you learn, I think, very quickly that, like, oh, there is something way more to this situation than what we're led on. There's a trap door, a secret door. There's a plane waiting. You find out that these people that you're surrounded by with bullets and guns all over the place have all of these other benefits, like safe cracking and demolitions, and it's a pilot and it's a mechanic and sharpshooting. Yeah, I thought in the developer commentary when they talked about all the different ways that they showed sharpshooting, I thought that was very cool because one of the ways that they were going to do it was show a podium with 3 people with rifles, but it's like, that doesn't...
Yeah, Brandon Chung said that didn't feel right.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Because it wasn't about glamorizing violence, was it?
No, I think
it was about her being recognizable. If she was a world-class sharpshooter, people would go, aren't you that person? But she's a criminal, so she needs to hide.
But then again...
Don't you kill people for a living?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so when I played this, when I got to that portion where you saw the dude and the lady and you got those little vignettes of like what they did, I had no idea what was going on. I don't know how you guys put together there was like a heist or anything like that, but at that point, because I played without the commentary maybe, or maybe I'm just slow. No,
I don't
Do you know what to
really
expect
do
at
so.
all? Like, would
No.
you...
came in completely fresh. I was told about the game a couple days ago,
Right.
and I went into it fresh, completely didn't know anything about it. And then I jumped in, I saw like all those little quick things. By the way, those quick little snapshot video things were awesome. Really cool.
So
yeah.
good.
So cool.
Like, it was really, really, really... I don't even know what was cool about it. I think it was quick. They had different personalities. And from my point of view, when I'm playing a new game, I'm kind of like just collecting information.
Yeah.
So I was trying to almost memorize what were their roles, what are they, in case I needed to find them later on, and I need to like...
Yeah.
I thought maybe they're going to put me in a situation where I was in a room with a bunch of different people, or they said find a pilot or find a confectionery person.
Right.
And I'd have to be like, which one was that one?
Yeah, like, sure.
Who's the best man? Is
Yeah.
it Anita or is it William?
Because they're each in like different rooms in those quick little snapshots. I'm like, okay, if it tells me to go to this place, I have to find something that looks like that. So I think I clicked it a couple times to watch it over and over. And then I drank all the beer like you guys, and then there was ammo you could collect. I got all the ammo.
Yeah.
And there are a ton of SMGs
But you
there.
couldn't pick them up, right?
Oh, I picked up all of them.
You could?
Pick everything.
Huh.
And I pushed
It
ducks
just
over.
didn't matter.
Yeah, I pushed the ducks over.
Also, why is the action key on E? What game ever has an action
lots
key on
of
E?
almost every game I've
yeah.
played.
Is that just me not being like a
It's-
PC gamer?
yeah,
Where I'm
100%
just like, I played PUB for 200 hours, everything's on F.
No, yeah, E is
Right.
like the
Yeah.
interact button.
Is it?
Yeah. Far Cry
E-
Primal, E.
Interact button?
E interact. Yeah.
Okay.
I use it like it's almost like the standard because it's right
Okay.
there when you have the WSD.
But a lot of times it's the mouse, too, though. I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah, fair enough.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, okay, collect information. Okay, next room, next space. Let's just keep advancing forward and hopefully piece together a story of some kind.
Based on that, I have to say this game was fantastic at environmental storytelling. They tell you so much without any dialogue and just showing you things about the environment. Understanding that, like, okay, cool, there are all these bullets here and these guns. We're going to be getting into some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's this plane here. We're going to be, like, flying around. We're going to be doing some things. I thought they did a great job with the environmental storytelling.
But it's the game of almost doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's like,
Totally.
Oh man, I'm gonna come so close to doing something.
was the next part jumping on that plane?
It was. It took me
I
a
had
while
that
to
exact
figure
same
that
what
out.
Rock was talking about. I jumped in. I'm like, oh guys, here we go. Flight simulator. Here we go.
And then guess what? Everyone's dead.
Yeah. So immediately, your buddies Anita and William hop in the plane with you. You cut from the plane to Tarantino-esque cut,
Definitely.
right?
Mhm.
Is that what you got to, Rocco? Tarantino?
So much so that I think it was like I'm surprised he didn't mention it in the comments.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very Tarantino-esque cut where you just see Anita bloodied with bullet holes and her holding a gun at you, and there's blood splatter on the wall, and there's a grate from a vent up above that's hanging, and you just see the red from the lights in the grate, and you don't know what happened. It was just this sharp jump cut.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things you get a bunch of these jump cuts throughout the game, and I think it really makes it very cinematic in the way that a movie is cinematic, and not in the way that a game like Uncharted is cinematic, where that it's very pretty and there are a lot of explosions in the right place. This was cinematic in that they cut and jump in ways that video games don't normally do. They cut and jump like it's a movie.
Can I be the devil's advocate on this?
Sure.
Do you think the cuts were too abrupt? Because part of me feels, and that's coming from someone who played Virginia, which is all about jump cuts, but they were smooth jump cuts where you were almost eased back into the action before it was like, hey, you're going to do a new thing. This game is all about, here's the jump cut, oh my god, something's happening.
Definitely.
I feel like they were maybe a little bit too abrupt. No?
I agree. I completely
You do.
agree. Because there were a bunch of situations that the jump cuts happened, and I thought, oh crap, my game glitched.
Or like
And-
they didn't happen in spots where like the biggest part for me, which happened to me both times I played it. So like where you're going and there's already been 2 or 3 jump cuts, and then you get to this clock and it's got like this cool Doppler effect of like
The
tick
time,
tick tick,
yeah.
and it's getting louder and louder, right? And then right when you go under it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a really sweet jump cut. And then it goes for like 1 more second and then cuts. And I was like, that was so like that could have been perfect when you like right when you went under the clock, like 1 log tick, and then it's just like bam, your next thing.
Yeah.
And you went a little bit further, and I was just like, wow, like that seemed like a huge missed opportunity.
Is that when you're carrying your buddy?
And that's when you're
Yeah.
carrying your buddy.
Why were we carrying the buddy?
So, your buddy Borges gets shot.
He was Swiss cheese.
Yeah, you
And
picked him
so-
up in that room.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
you're in this little closet, and you have to pick him up. He's blocking the door. So you pick him up, you open the door, and you're carrying him through this airport. And so you run through a bunch of traffic of people just running in every direction.
Yes.
Busy people in an airport.
Mhm.
And then you stumble up across this guy with headphones on and a baggage cart for all his luggage. And you throw the baggage off, and you put your buddy on it, and then you start wheeling him around this airport.
random thought. This game was like a dream. Not my dream, but like in general.
I completely
Made
agree.
100% like a dream. Snap cuts, different random things. You're carrying a guy through an
You
airport.
can't remember how you got to where you were.
Yeah.
That's Inception, anyone?
Well, and like that thing where like in a dream, the weird thing about talking about dreams is you just assume that everybody has the same exact kind of dreams. But like where like you walk up to a house and it's like almost like you're dreaming, and it's like an establishing shot, and then you go in the front door and it's a different house than the one like you ever read that? Like
yeah.
when you're like, I'm going to my house, and I open the front door and I'm home, but I'm inside my friend's house. And that's kind of what the game felt like too. Like every time it does a jump cut, you're like, all right, I'm in a different place, but it's like the same place, but it's kind of a different area.
You know that it's the same location, but just in a different part.
Yeah, like which flight of loving am I on?
Yeah.
The 10th flight?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it about stairs? Is that what the whole thing is about? Is it because you have to play this game 30 times to understand it? Like, why is it called 30 Flights of Loving?
I wasn't able to piece it
Where's the
together.
I
loving,
think I
man?
know. I think
there
I
was-
have a theory about that too.
There
Okay.
was loving.
Was there?
There
Oh,
was.
there
Yeah.
was loving.
You know what I
There
was
some
loving? I just need to say this before I forget. You have your guy in the cart, and you actually throw him underneath the grate when it's coming down.
Sideways.
That's the only time where I just broke completely, and I actually
so
laughed out
good.
loud. I was like,
that was another
What?
dream moment. So you're running down that hallway, a giant gate is coming down to block your path, and you chuck him forward to stop the grate from hitting the ground, and you slide underneath with him while pushing him through.
If none of this makes sense to any of you listening, it's because you need to play it to understand. Mo said it, I think, in the best possible way. It's like a dream. You can't quite understand it or follow it logically.
Another cool thing just happened too, where Mo said you slide under the gate with him,
Yeah.
and it never actually shows you do that. Like that's another effective thing
You
about
just
it.
know,
Soon,
yeah.
You're just like, oh, that's what's happening. I'm
Yeah.
sliding under the gate, saving my friend, and we're keep going. Like that's just like
You know what other amazing thing that just happened? Mike gave me
Some props.
some props.
You deserve it,
He's
Mo.
a fan now.
I'm part of the alt middle.
There we go. We got another one, guys.
I'm joining the Mo army.
then the police comes.
Yeah, which I thought was a great way to do that scene. In the developer commentary, Brendan Chung writes about how, this would be really tough to do with our production schedule because it's an outdoor scene. We wanted to have a barricade of cops. But because it would be outside, you'd have to do some serious blocking. You'd have to render and design a whole outdoor space. But instead, if they did it in the way they did, which was all silhouetted, it has a very memorable effect, and it's easier to produce. So I think it was one of those great, confluences of it being the most effective way to do it and the most memorable way to do it.
it's like Robert Rodriguez, like making a movie.
Right.
Like you just gotta do. You have this much money, and that's all you have, and do it the most effective way possible. And you gotta be creative, and you gotta think about like, all right, I'm doing this effect, whether it kills me, and how am I gonna be able to pull this off with $50?
Right.
Is it one storyline? I just want to double check. Because you guys played it multiple times. Can you get to another ending or anything?
It's one.
It's
one.
yeah.
Okay,
It's,
so we all
it's
saw
linear.
the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which I think was kind of funny because so after the police
Don't forget the
escape-
seagulls, though. Aren't there seagulls that come down from the ceiling that you start
Shooting.
Your friends
Yes.
start shooting.
You start shooting. Yeah, because he's
Birds
in
for sure.
Birds.
Where
yeah.
was that? That was when he was in the
That was in the
wheelchair
airport.
thing.
Lobby.
Yeah.
And I started running around in circles, like just helping him get better angles at those birds or whatever, and he's just unleading.
The police bird cameras.
Yeah,
Mhm.
unleashing
And it
fire.
feels like you're helping him, but are you? Because I wish I was.
The developer commentary was really good for that.
I'm
because
like, yo,
it
I
says-
got 15 guns and 1,000 rounds.
That's
Like,
exactly
let
how
me
I felt.
Play the game.
That's exactly how I felt. I felt like there were no stakes because it was like, I know that there's no way I'm dying in this
Mhm.
because I have no way to shoot and help
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
And it
All
would
these
be-
guns are in my cargo pants that are just the
Exactly.
largest pair of cargo pants you can ever
I
get.
felt like I was helping him. I was giving him good angles. I don't even know if there's any if I was helping him. But
The first time I played it, I was like, let me make sure you get some good angles. And then the second time I played it, I'm like, I'm just going to stand in the middle of this room until all these
Oh,
police
really?
bird cameras are dead.
oh no, I moved around like literally backwards, with him facing the birds and going in a circle to make sure he got them all.
I smashed the number buttons trying to get my gun out.
Oh yeah.
Let me play.
Oh, wouldn't
Dude,
that
that
have been the
was Counter-Strike.
best?
It would have been great.
That's another moment, Rocker, where the things start coming out. You're like, oh, we're gonna
Here
shoot.
we go,
things.
man.
And
Here we
then
go.
no shooting.
Almost doing something.
The next couple hours of this game are going to be really great. 2 minutes later.
Okay.
And then there's a car chase and a wedding. What happens
Well,
first?
But before the wedding, okay.
Yeah,
so
we
you-
jumped all over the place, just like this game.
Yeah, a lot of jump cuts. So you wake up in this apartment. There are 3 mattresses on the floor.
Right.
And you walk up to Anita, and she's got a box of oranges, and she's just throwing orange peels on the ground like she was raised in a barn. And
You can't do that?
I mean,
They're biodegradable.
you don't do that in my house. Let me tell you, Jake. You come over and you throw orange peels on the ground, I'm going to tell you to leave.
I'm more of a Clementine guy myself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Similar policy applies to Clementine peels.
Yep, but
All
they're
citrus.
but they're the Spanish orange. They're naranjas.
Naranjas?
Naranjas.
Okay,
I probably butchered that, but
that's cool. I love Clementines.
hmm
Anyways, so this is where I made a serious mistake because I didn't understand that you had needed to click to peel the
You
orange.
carried the orange with you the
So I
entire
carried
game?
the orange
Me
with
too.
me the entire
I did
game.
Oh, yo, I did the exact same thing.
You
I
serious?
thought it was part of it. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah,
with
me
orange?
too, man. I was like, when am I going to get to use this orange?
What? Yeah.
I realized I horribly screwed up
Second
when...
playthrough, ate that shit right away.
Because you go to the party and you guys bring in a cake and you're like, I'm bringing this orange.
And then you start doing the drink after drink with Anita,
Yeah.
Do you still have the orange? in
and
your
I
hand?
still have the orange in my
Yeah,
hand.
you're just like, It's like holding
All
an
these
orange
drinks
out.
are piling up. I'm like, you should eat this orange.
Yeah,
You're gonna
man.
be wasted.
When did you eat the orange the first playthrough?
Never.
Never.
I never ate it.
I did get to a point where I was like, oh, I just need to click. I don't remember
And see,
what
I
it
ate
was.
like 3 or 4 of them.
Listen,
I'm just
Oh,
like,
you
what
got more
needs
than
to
one.
happen? Because I didn't realize that's the place that got me caught. Is I'm like, where do I have to go? Do I just like click the orange? Then I jumped off the world, and I'm like,
Did you
maybe
go
I.
up or down the
Did you
stairs?
die?
No, well, you die, but you go immediately back to where you peel
Okay.
oranges.
I never died.
You can.
no, I had like a smirk come on my face when I finished the game because I ate the orange. Once it said like the end and you're like kind of riding away in the sunset, I was like, it says press escape to like quit the game. So I press escape. And I'm like, I feel like it's not done yet. Let me just keep playing this game. So I didn't like click escape. I went back to like that motorcycle view.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I started clicking on the orange. I started eating. I'm like, oh, these guys didn't do it. These guys definitely didn't eat this orange. It was definitely unlocked now when you go back to the game. So I was waiting until this podcast was over and be like, guys, did you guys eat the orange?
Yeah.
And
Eating
you guys
a
crushed my spirit.
delicious orange while learning up the Bernoulli principle.
No, way after, at the very, very like,
Okay.
last bit of it.
Did you guys go down the stairs to the wedding or up the stairs?
Up.
Okay,
Up.
you all went up, right? If you go down the stairs, it's hilarious. There's a little fun developer commentary thing.
There's curtains, right?
There's curtains.
Okay.
And he's like, so this is like a very clear way to make sure that, like, to poke fun of the way that the game's linear, because there's a sign that says the stairs are broken. And if you look down the stairs, there's this one stair that's flapping up and down, up and down.
I think I saw that.
Really
I
funny.
thought that was so funny.
That's great.
really
It was so dumb and, like, my favorite kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And then,
Definitely.
and then you go up to the wedding, and there's some cool people dancing. And I thought the like audio design of walking through the tables and crowds of people talking was great because like it's enough real chatter of people talking, but not clear enough that you can hear what they're saying or piece together any conversation. So I thought that was great. And then you go over to the table with Anita and Borges, and you hit the interact key and you start doing shots. And then people get on the dance floor, and then they start vertically shooting up as the world gets blurrier and blurrier as you're getting more and more inebriated.
Mhm.
I thought that was a great effect.
But it's not alcoholic. So how are you getting inebriated?
No, so that was
What?
alcoholic.
What? Where did the booze come from?
No, the
Well,
booze was on the
you
table
know,
there.
because you know we're smuggling.
Yeah,
We're at the smuggler wedding,
yeah.
and yeah. So,
Um,
the booze had funny names too.
They did have funny names. Do you remember what they were called? I think one was Hammered and...
One was like Moonshine, but it was something else. It was called like something else Shine, or
Okay.
something else Moon. I can't remember.
Anyways, I thought there were a bunch of really clever names in this game.
Nothing made me laugh out loud though. A couple things made him like he was like actually laughing in a couple parts, but for me it was mostly just like, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Definitely some clever stuff for sure.
Yeah, I definitely thought there were some good, like, laugh out loud moments.
Mhm. What was another one you had? Because besides like throwing my compartner underneath the gate, that was the only time I laughed out loud.
I laughed out loud when I turned the corner and I saw the barkeep and the person at the bar were the exact same person,
Mhm.
and they were just staring at me with their big cube heads.
Mhm.
I thought that was hilarious.
Mhm.
And I feel like timing wise, the other laugh would have been when you were slamming the beers and the people floating in space.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I think.
I thought I was watching La La Land again.
You didn't love La La Land, did you?
I really love La La
Oh,
Land.
did you? Okay,
Uh-huh.
good, because I love La La
Mhm.
Land. I've gotten into some serious arguments with people about La La Land.
It's good.
It's so good.
I
La La
cried.
Land is whack.
I cried.
Mo, get out of here.
Leave.
Hey, Mo, you know what sucks?
Don't you do it.
Lord of the Rings.
Always trying to break my heart.
Don't you do it?
Yours has to break your heart, see? I
Gangster Gollum. 40s gangster.
Nobody saw my hands. It's like,
Oh no, I saw the hands. I didn't want to
Jacob was throwing up. Sorry, Gollum was throwing up gang signs there.
Yes, peace to all my brother. Yes.
It's like a Wicked Witch of the West or something.
What was the name of the Fun Cut? Was it Fun Cutter? Was on the
Yeah,
boxes?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Fun Cutter. So that was that was the term that they had in development for any cool concept or feature that they wanted to add that had to be cut because of like schedules and actually getting this game done on time. So they said, "Oh, great! Now we got to bring out the Fun Cutter." So they had boxes of that at the wedding. I
Yeah.
thought that was great.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but that's cool. That's funny.
I can tell you found it hilarious.
So funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
So then after that, where did we end up?
car chase?
Car
Yeah.
chase? Was
Bullets?
it? Yeah, car chase.
Oh,
Shooting a bullet.
the bullet when you follow it.
Oh no, sorry, Anita. Anita brings you back to bed.
Yeah, she does.
There's a very drunk
wasted.
walk. Yeah,
And that's the loving part.
30 Flights of Loving.
Because you have to climb 30 flights of stairs.
There you go.
Dang.
Yeah. So then this game gets weird, and I mean it gets even weirder.
Yeah.
You end up what I would consider the end of the game after a police chase, and Anita's looking at you, shooting out hearts from her mouth, and you end up crashing into a vehicle. And as you crash through that vehicle, you end up in this essentially museum. And you just see this big, like, Blendo game sign that says, like, the end. And
you're in the credits.
And you're in the credits, yeah. So you see a bunch of signs thanking Chris Remo for the music and other people on the team for developing it, and the Idle Thumbs guys for sponsoring it, and all of these different things. But then you end up in this, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it's there. But I kind of loved it. The Bernoulli, what was it?
But
Principle.
Before you even get to that one, that little credits way of doing things was really cool.
Extremely satisfying.
Why can't who has ever watched or looked at credits or cared about the people that really made the game? Not that many people. But if you did it like that way, where it's kind of interactive and you're just walking around, even if you have like art of the game like floating around, like did you play that one Call of Duty where like at the end you can like go into you can see like different like. I can't remember if it was like the Spec Ops like section or something, but you'd walk into this museum and you could see all the guns in the game. You can pick them all up. And I think there was like a zombie level.
I totally know that.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That was awesome. I sometimes when I played the game, I just went to that level and just checked out the art and like picked up all the other guns and did all that stuff. I think
that was Black Ops, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah.
Isn't the Stanley Parable like that too? Has anyone played the Stanley Parable?
I have.
I played the mod.
I did not finish it.
Okay.
I played it.
I love it though.
Yeah, I played it.
It's very good.
I think there's a similar thing in it too.
I believe there is.
Interactive credits. Just walk around.
And then, but there's that awesome joke in 30 Flights of Loving where you're reading the credits and everybody's looking at it like really admiring it, like you're in a museum and it's just like, these are credits. This is so stupid. But then you're like, wait a minute, I'm doing it too.
A little meta.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And then you walk into the museum. Sorry, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you see the Bernoulli principle.
Bernoulli principle. I thought for a second it was the Galileo principle where he like gets in a bathtub and that it shows displacement for weight.
Right.
I thought, that's what we're. Isn't that Galileo that discovered like if you put volume in a bathtub, you can find out how much volume it has because it displaces that much water?
No. I mean, I do know the principle. Yeah. But it's in ancient Greek.
But Bernoulli principle is all about lift, right?
Right. And I've heard it, but I did not know it, and I feel like I actually learned something by playing this game.
Yo, by the way, that's like another perfect like setup for like educational games. I would learn so much if all I went. Oh, so I'm holding a piece of string to my nose, like a mustache. I just fidget. It's what I do.
Do we need to get you a fidget spinner, Mom?
I have a couple.
I know a guy who's got one.
Yeah.
So he's about education games. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No, like that little museum where you're walking around and it kind of shows you like visual representations of like some concepts. Like that's an awesome little way to teach people things. I don't know, even if it's just like walking around and clicking on things.
But doesn't it also have to be fun for a kid to want to learn?
Oh, maybe I'm looking at it differently.
I thought it was fun to learn that because I have seen those strips of paper at the bottom of like a fan or something fly up, and I had never ever thought in my life before, why is that floating up when the fan is above it?
But you're also not 9 years old.
I guess.
Right.
It might be different.
But I loved learning stuff when I was a kid too.
Same.
But think about how kids use Minecraft now. Like I'm sure there are kids that learn things from Minecraft.
Minecraft's
like how to make fire.
A lot of schools now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know they're hiring right now Minecraft ed people.
Who has ever talked this much about freaking credits in any game ever?
Right?
The credits were my favorite part of the game.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling that way too. Kinda.
No.
But yeah, it was a great spot.
No, the montage was for sure my favorite part of it.
Montage.
Because it came out of nowhere. The montage is being like, he's a sharpshooter.
Yes, the jump cuts.
Oh, the jump cuts were really cool.
For me, that was my favorite. That like, demolitions, safe breaking, mechanics, pilot. I love that. I thought that was the best.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I want more games to do that. I thought that was a great way to like very quickly give you a bunch of information, and it like set the tone, set the place, set a lot of what was happening. Because if you think about it, like I feel like we've talked a lot, and there was a lot of story packed into this, and we've all said our playthroughs were like 20 minutes or less.
Right. And that's another thing too, where like I read I didn't actually read any articles, but I read like headlines because I was going to look into it, and then I was like, I better not. But like some of them were saying, 30 Flights of Loving like packs so much more into this 15-minute story than most movies do in an hour and a half or whatever. And that's true, but then at the end I couldn't help but think it tells a story and it tells it relatively well, but is it a story that's worth telling? And I didn't really, if this was a short film, it wouldn't be good. And I think making it a video game, does that excuse that a little bit? Maybe, because just the idea of actually controlling it sort of makes it a more entertaining experience. But at the end of the day, I'm just all right, these credits are the coolest part. I was way more into the idea of looking through a museum of these credits, and then the commentary, that was just next level to me. I was wow, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up just being this is a very interesting game that I'm never going to play again because I didn't have any fun while I was actually playing the game. After the game came the fun.
Right. I don't know if I could tell you what the story of 30 Flights of Loving was. I don't know if they were committing a bank heist or, I'm not sure where the airport comes in exactly. I'm not sure who they were stealing from or what they were stealing. I'm not even sure if something was stolen. I just assume that something was stolen.
I'm so glad you guys don't know what the story is, because
Okay.
I finished the game, I'm okay, I'm going to need some help. And then as we kind of talked about it, I'm okay, there was a heist. Okay, yeah, I knew that too. Not really, but it was really,
Right.
I knew vaguely what was happening, but I didn't think I was so...
You can piece things together.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, because before you said you had a theory, and I think Rocco at one point you're I got a theory too, but you said liquor heist at one point. You had put together that there was non-alcoholic alcohol in the bar, and non-alcoholic, that was a long word, and that there was at the wedding. So you would almost put together that they might have stolen it and their celebration was the wedding. I just don't
You're giving me more credit than I deserve because you just piece those things together. I just knew that they were clearly doing things outside of the law, and so this prohibition on alcohol didn't apply to them. I feel like this is a lot of good movies where the fans are coming together and piecing together narratives that maybe are true and maybe that aren't, but that's also part of the fun. One of the things that I love about movies, especially Christopher Nolan films, is that he doesn't give you the whole story in a lot of cases. And so a lot is left for you to fill in, and you get to have those discussions as to okay, what did this mean? What happened in this period? And I kind of feel like that's what we're doing. Is it a case of them stealing this alcohol and it being for the wedding, or is it a case of them stealing something else and the alcohol just being a consequence of them living life outside the law?
damn.
Heavy questions.
Everyone just paused there and was like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a little bit.
It's weird. So the fact that I played it on your MacBook Air, so I didn't pay for it. First of all, when I first you told me about the game, I kind of did that quick little search to see what was going on. It had really mixed reviews. People were oh, this is a waste of time, don't download this game. Some people were oh, they do some really neat stuff.
See, they were a masterpiece a lot too.
Yeah, but then other people were nah, it's not. Don't. Some people are literally don't believe the positive reviews. This isn't something that you should be playing. And I was this is gonna be going home all over again. I'm gonna be walking around doing nothing, and I'm gonna be so mad.
Don't they say this is the original walking simulator? Isn't
really?
Isn't that the
That would make sense.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what it was. If it was those little vignettes, if it was the fact that I didn't pay for it, so the bar was extremely low. So if it made me smirk, I got my money's worth because I didn't pay anything, or if it was the gun.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to finish because we know that it was the gun.
And to be honest, I'm kind of on Rocco's team with that. The little ending credits was very satisfying because the game was very quick. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset. I was kind of lost. I'm what? This is some visuals were really cool. The vignettes are awesome. The bullets flying and you zoom in, following a bullet across the scenery was cool. Jumping in the plane, getting excited to almost fly but not flying was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'd have a different point of view if I paid $5 for it and then I played it. And I'm
after playing it, that's the thing I've been trying to think about since I finished the game, which is having already played it. How much would I be willing to pay for this game if I could, somehow magically go back in time and know what I was going to get out of it without actually knowing what the game was, And how much would I be willing to pay for it? And it definitely isn't $5 for that short of a game and that experience.
Yeah.
And I think that...
I have a number.
Yeah?
I have $1.99. I would pay $1.99 for that experience.
I completely agree.
Right? It feels right.
That's the
$2, yeah, get out of here. But $1.99, all right, it'll come to the library, and maybe if I get to it, I get to it. But you would, because it's only 15, 20 minutes.
So I'd pay like a $2.75 Canadian.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
I don't know if I would necessarily pay money for it.
Yeah.
I could see this being at a museum.
Didn't you?
Or I see. I got it in a Humble Bundle back when I was buying all the Humble Bundles because I was like, "Yo, look at all these games! I'm gonna play these someday." I never played them.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much I paid for it. But I think I would love to, like, say I was at a PAX or something. I would have loved to walk up and play this game and just like walk back through the line and be like, I don't know what I just played. Just like let's talk about it after the fact. The fun for me for this game is not playing the game. It's talking about it with you guys.
100%.
And I don't think I would have had any. I might not have derived much enjoyment out of it if I didn't have this.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. If I played the game and I didn't do anything afterwards, I would be like, that was irritating. Why would I just waste my 15 minutes? But the fact that I finished it, I'm like, okay, I'll be able to talk to someone about it. That kind of makes it kind of worth it.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed. I love talking about games, but specifically this game because there were so many holes in the story, or at least things that weren't made explicitly clear that other people can have interpretations on. That I think we all shared our different views on, and I thought that made it a little more interesting, a little bit better than typical. I have a tough time figuring out how much I would pay for it because I was more than happy to kickstart the Idle Thumbs podcast to bring them back. So getting this game was just like, sure, a bonus. I'll play this maybe sometime never. And when Jacob's like, hey, we should play this game. Cool, I've got a copy. I've had a copy for a long time. Never played it. I might have multiple copies because I also bought a ton of Humble Bundles. So yeah, it's. I'm really glad we played it though.
And
honestly, I really enjoyed it.
I'm wondering if it's only $5 because of the Kickstarter to make it fair to the people who kickstarted that thing. You know,
It might be.
because it does seem like kind of an unfinished game in a way, where like that was my theory about that stool thing. I'm like, oh, that probably did something at one point, and they just thought it was funny to leave it because there's a lot of little in jokes in the game where like.
So many in jokes.
Yeah.
So there's Quadrilateral Cowboy posters, which is the next game.
The sequel to it.
Yeah,
basically.
the sequel. There were Baboo posters, which is like an Idle Thumbs joke.
Mm.
There are all kinds of little in jokes throughout the game.
Oh, I forgot about the coolest thing.
What is the coolest thing?
It was
How can you
something.
forget what the coolest thing is?
I forgot about it, and it made me
Not
so
that
happy when it was happening. Because it wasn't like a gameplay thing; it was just a purely visual thing. When all the ads flipped over to wanted posters.
I thought that was so good.
yeah.
So cool.
I feel like I've seen
So
that before,
good.
but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's in like a Minority Report or something.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
movie that does it really well. But
Yeah.
it was so cool, like the way that
Adjustment
it
Bureau.
did it.
Yeah, you're walking
I never saw
down-
that, so maybe
walking
that
down
does it too,
I
though.
think it does.
I have a super hot take about the game. This would be the best thing that you would ever find on eBombs World or Newgrounds.com back in the day.
100%.
Frog Fractions.
That's exactly where my mind went, and that game is $0.
I was gonna say Frog Fractions is free and is top 10 experiences I've ever had playing a game. Like that. That's where I put my $5 is cheap, but Frog Fractions was free. So you gotta keep that in mind.
And have you guys played Frog Fractions?
I honestly, it's one of those holes in my.
Which
gaming
one is Frog
legacy.
Fight? I feel like isn't like what?
Putting that one in the book.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't it taken down?
No, you can
Today,
still.
I played it as recently as 6 months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat
And
as
I will
you.
go back and play it.
Hmm.
I wonder if we got
Frog
to it the same
Fractions
way.
was a game that was
Those documentaries
framed
on YouTube.
as an educational math game, and then as you
Oh, I played this game.
progress,
I played this game. I put hours into this game. I'm pretty sure.
Really fun.
Yeah.
But did you play
Really
it?
fun.
Did you put hours into it?
No, I probably put like 5-10 minutes, and then I was like,
But
I
did
was
you?
like,
Did,
why do I want
no,
to do math?
no, yeah, I remember it's I either played it or I saw like some kind of viral video about like how addicting it
It was that
and
documentary.
then it gets pretty. Was
had
it?
to be right. What were those called? Do
no,
you
no
remember?
clip. The no clip.
No Clip.
No clip. Danny
Yeah.
O'Dwyer did a documentary about them.
Gotcha.
Discovering Mystery. I think I've referred to it on a separate podcast about Splunky, that game, and
Right.
Doom?
it might have been tied into that.
Oh, is it John Blow's game?
yes, and it
Yeah,
was
The
John
Witness.
Blow. Yep. It was a video about those 3 games.
I've got a Mass Effect 2 safe to load in. So Frog Fractions
Two?
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Where have I
get
seen
to
this game? I'm looking it up on my phone. I've seen it
I'd
somewhere.
love to hear you guys talk about Frog Fractions. I could listen to people talk about that game all day long.
Sounds like we're gonna play Frog Fractions.
sounds like we're playing Frog Fractions at some point.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it, but Mo, did you discover the thing with Frog Fractions?
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I'm mad at brother.
Don't spoil it.
No, I'm not gonna look it up just in case.
Don't look it up, please.
Because you would know. You didn't discover
It
it.
would ruin it if you looked it up. It
I feel like I know.
I don't think you do.
I feel like when I see what it is, I'd be like, oh, I've seen this before.
The best thing about Frog Fractions is showing it to someone and watching them play it. And the payoff is just insane. It's so good. So that game, like, that's what I was saying. Like, all I could think about after I finished 30 Flights of Loving was like, all right, this is kind of like an art game. It's like kind of a jokey game. And I was just comparing it in my mind to like Frog Fractions and Jazz Punk, which is a similar art style and it's another. And I think Jazz Punk's also really good. I think I got that in a Humble Bundle. Maybe that's why I think I have 30 Flights of Loving.
I also have Jazz Punk. I'm sure we bought all the Humble Bundles around the same time.
Maybe.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about 30 Flights of Loving?
No, just that I had a really good time playing it. I thought it was a great game.
I'm definitely glad I played it because I think it's like a good jumping off point for talking about other things. It's going to be a nice thing to compare other games to.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I have it like, in my arsenal of talking about things.
Definitely.
But I will never play it again. I probably wouldn't like allow someone to spend $5 on it unless they had like disposable income.
Rocco's swatting credit cards out of people's hands.
I'll be like, oh God, Mike, can you come over? My friend's got to play 30 Flights of Loving.
Just
Bring
bring
your
your
laptop. Just pass it around.
I can, in good conscience, let him pay the money to play this game that I played for free, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And this thing's based off the Quake 2 engine, is it not?
There were 3 engines or different development tools that I saw in the credits there. I did see a Quake 2 engine. I think it was a mod on the Quake 2 engine.
And, Mo, what do you think about this game?
Meh, it's good. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I came into it wanting to hate it because I thought I was going to be walking simulator, but pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed it.
I can't believe your lack of disappointment with not being able to shoot one of those.
There were guns.
Beautiful guns.
No, there were guns.
amazed.
There were guns. There was shooting.
The fact that, see, that's worse though, right? You liked that they existed, but like
There's no interaction?
They literally let you pick them up and load them.
Defies
And then
Chekhov's
made
gun.
the sound. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And that is a satisfying sound.
Yeah.
It is, man. Oh God, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would be even worse if they like showed you loading it like Men in Black style, like the load up,
That'd be
like,
cool.
and then you just don't use it.
So, Rocco, I hear that you like to submit reviews about things on the internet.
Yes, I only write reviews for my very favorite podcasts.
And what would those podcasts be? I understand This American Life is a podcast.
Yeah, I've heard a review of that.
Serial is a podcast, too.
Yep, I write reviews for all the greats.
Is about and the greats?
There's another one called Left Behind Game Club that I wrote a review on.
Don't know that one. It sounds amateur.
Tell us about it.
It's a 5-star podcast.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
So what
It's
should
up there
people
with
do?
Radio Lab, Comedy
Okay.
Bang Bang. I just list podcasts for
Good.
45 minutes.
So what should people do if they agree with you that it's a great podcast?
And Rocco does not have a gun to his head and being asked this question. He's
Well,
saying it free to.
I mean, Rocco might not be able to get back to the States tonight if he gives the wrong answer here. Rocco, what should they do if they think it's a 5-star podcast?
Well, they should go on iTunes. They should leave a 5-star review.
And my name's Angry Alvin, and I'm angry,
Who
and
keeps letting this angry Alvin in?
and this podcast stinks, especially that new guest Rocco can't even pronounce his last name. What do I do with my review if it's 3 stars, Rocco?
If it's 3 stars, you write it on a piece of paper, and you think about it for a week. And you think about it, and you think like, is it really 3 stars? And then you realize like, no, I'm cool. I'm a cool guy. And then you write a 5-star review on iTunes.
That's actually very helpful, Rocco. Why are the other hosts not as helpful as you?
See, Alvin's gonna come around, you guys. You just gotta give him some of that American charm.
You're right. That's it. We're too Canadian for it. For
Because
Alvin.
people definitely say American charm over Canadian charm.
Yeah. Oh, we're very polite actually. Over there.
Actually,
over there.
I don't
Over there.
even know what direction it is from this place.
And I think that's the show.
That's the show.
Angry Alvin just left in a huff.
Huff.
You know what? He actually seemed happier than when he came in.
I think it was Rocco's dulcet tones.
It's that
and his,
northern hospitality.
and his great directions on what to do if he thinks the podcast is worth anything less than 5 stars.
Michael, hello.
Hello,
Where
Jacob.
can people find you on the internet?
Find me at Ruffolo on most places online and michaelruffalo.com.
And Mo, where can people find you on the internet?
you can find me at Murtadi.
And Rocco, if people want to find you on the internet, can they find you on the internet?
No.
Great. Great. And I'm at Jacob McCourt on everything. And with that, that's our show. Yeah. I thought this bit died last.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, you guys just killed it.
No, they
No,
Yeah,
don't.
we did. We did kill it.
No, you.
We killed it.
No, you murdered it.